G'day Dark Realmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again today. Do you know, I was meant to be taking part in the horror movie tag game, but I woke up this morning and for some reason I just don't feel like myself. G'day Dark Realmers, it's horror author and illustrator Michael J. Elliott here with you again, feeling a lot better than I did during the introduction. If this is your first trip to the diaries, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to keep up with the best in horror, in book reviews, movie reviews, creepypasta and tag games and the like, then hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Okay, well, I was tagged by fellow book lover and movie lover and YouTube creator Travis West from Travis Reads Books, and I'll supply the link to his channel down below. And this tag game was originally started by the Horror Whore, and that was 2 years ago, but being October, the month of Halloween, Travis thought it would be great to sort of rejig it and kick it along a bit. So here we are with 10 questions relating to horror movies that will let you know a little bit about me and what sort of things I enjoy as a horror author and a horror viewer. Okay, question 1. What was the first horror movie you remember watching? Well, this is a bit tricky because my mum and I used to sit up and watch lots of them and lots of thrillers and that, so there's not one that immediately springs to mind. But I think it may have been one of the old Hammer horror movies. And I'm pretty sure it was one of those anthology type, 3-story ones. And I thoroughly enjoyed them. And even today, they're one of my favourite type of movie. Question 2. What is your favourite horror movie? Well, I had a toss-up between these two. It was either Psycho or Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. And I had to go with Whatever Happened to Baby Jane because to me it works on so many levels. There's the horror of Bette Davis playing a mentally unstable woman who is reverted to her childhood. The animosity and the cruelty and the psychological terror that she plays on her sister Blanche, played by Joan Crawford, and the actual murder, of the housekeeper, just brilliant. It's one of those films I can watch over and over and over again, and it still creeps me out. It still chills me to the bone. So yeah, it's got to be that one. Question 3. What is your favourite horror genre? Well, I don't know if it's actually classified as a genre or not, but I'm going to go with it anyway, and that's the horror movie anthology. I love them, absolutely love them to death. I love sitting down and watching a movie that contains 3 or 4 short films by different directors and different writers and just comparing them and seeing them. And I have been a huge fan of the Hammer horror anthology series, like The House That Drips Blood and all those films for years and years and years. And there's not that many that are made today. I scour the net looking for them, and the last one I actually saw was one I reviewed here on the Dark Realm Diaries called Kiss Kiss, and you can see the link up there to that review, okay? They're just great because to me it's like one of my favourite book genres is the anthology of short stories, because you get a little bit of everything, and there's always, if you don't like something, the next one might be better, rather than sitting through a whole movie and you've decided within 25 minutes this is crap. Okay, at least with that short story there's another one coming along. Question 4. What genre scares you the most? And for me, it's the serial killer genre. Now, I'm not talking about the slasher films, like the teenagers running through, forest in skimpy clothes, i.e. females being chased by an axe wheeler. They leave me cold. a really good serial killer that has motivation, that has depth, and I'm talking about movies like Seven, which is utterly terrifying. Okay, movies along that line are just wonderful. I love them because I'm a real fan of sort of and I have a real interest in criminal psychology and abnormal psychology too. So those movies get me every. Okay, question 5, the last movie that actually scared you. And this was another one that I reviewed here on the Dark Realm Diaries, and it was called The Secrets of Emily Blair, and it was utterly terrifying. I never imagined that, a movie about demonic possession could equal The Exorcist in any way, but this from a modern movie was utterly terrifying, and the actress who played Emily Blair was just amazing. It was creepy, it built up nicely, and yeah, it just gave me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah, definitely Dark Realmers. Check that one out. Question 6, your ultimate scream queen. Well, look, I've got to be brutally honest here, Dark Realmers, and I have to admit I don't follow a lot of careers of new actresses appearing in horror movies. A lot of the horror movies I watch are indie films. Well, I try to watch as many as I can. And these actresses are just sort of starting out, learning their craft. They may even be working on the production itself. So I have to be very boring and very unoriginal and say Jamie Lee Curtis, because she was the original Scream Queen. Okay, well, not counting, the victims from other 500 movies in the past, but Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, she set the stage for the ultimate victim who turns everything around and fights back. So yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her interaction with her brother Michael Myers, brilliant. Question 8, your favourite on-screen kill. Well, this is a tie between Don't Look Now and The Haunting of Julia, and the final scene in Don't Look Now is when Donald Sutherland is racing through the back alleys and streets of Venice because he sees a child in a rain slicker, and he thinks it's his dead daughter, and he confronts this and turns around saying, "Hey, don't be frightened," and it's this horrible little dwarf who's been killing people and dumping them in the canals, and he slashes Donald Sutherland's throat. And the other one in The Haunting of Julia it's so haunting and it's so subtle that I had to watch it twice to make sure I hadn't, misread it. And I won't spoil the movie, but in the end, she comes to accept this ghost of this child in her house, and she presents this ghost with this little, wind-up monkey, one of those ones that clap cymbals together, and she says, "Oh, sharp, don't, you'll hurt yourself." Well, the next thing, we have tinkling piano music, and we see Mia Farrow sitting back there with her throat slashed by this ghost who's used these monkey cymbals, and that was just, oh my God, I was not expecting that. And it's just so, but they do it so peacefully. There's Mia Farrow, she's almost like she's asleep, and there's this, haunting piano music, and it's come full circle, which was the alternative name of the movie. Question 7. So they're my concept you'd like to see in horror. Well, it's not an original concept, and I find that originality in horror is really hard to achieve. But I don't think Hollywood makes enough psychological horror. And to me, there is nothing more frightening than the concept of having someone in your life that isn't quite who you think they are. Now, some movies that spring to mind that do this brilliantly, we need to talk about Kevin, The Bad Seed. I'm just lost for choices at the moment. But I really like that concept of getting the audience and introducing them to a character. Oh, aren't they? And then, oh, you're a little bit creepy. I'm not sure about you. And building them up and seeing what this character does. We need more psychological horror. Hollywood, we're over slashers, okay, all that. Give us something in depth. Question 9. Your favourite movie franchise? Well, for me, it's Saw. Okay, it's, yeah, I know, yeah, it's very gruesome, but hey, that's my stock in trade. I write horror. But apart from that, I mean, they did have varying qualities, but I loved the concept, the actual original concept of how much would you do to save your own life, you know, by a man who's got no choice, he's dying. So I loved that. And one of the creepiest things I found is the murders were, you know, or the games were pretty, but that little puppet trifling in and saying, "Hello, I'd like to play a little game with you." That is like the ultimate in creep, for me anyway. So yeah, definitely Saw. And finally, question 10, your favourite horror director? Well, I'd have to say James Wan, because he did the original Saw, but he's gone on to do some incredible, you know, really well received and highly successful horror films, such as, you know, the Conjuring series and you know, a few more along those lines. So yes, I think he's, pardon me, probably one of Hollywood's best directors for this genre. Okay, Dark Realmers, thank you for joining me for this horror movie tag, and thanks to Travis for tagging me. I've had fun doing this and giving you a bit of an insight into my tastes in horror and what scares me and what movies I like. Now, I'm not going to tag anyone else to do this. If you watch this and you're a YouTuber and you want to get involved, please do so, because I love seeing everyone else's ideas and their thoughts too. Okay, well, that's it from me, Dark Realmers, and I'll see you again very, very soon. But if you're going to watch horror movies or even this video, remember, stay in the light. I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.